All right, and we're back. Oklahoma City took game one from Minnesota in Oklahoma City. And guess what? I think we're in for a series that's going to be an instant classic because
Yep.
it was tight there in the first, but Oklahoma City pulled it out in the second half. So, Jay, you were at the game. I was watching at home. So I want to get your initial reaction. You just got back as we're recording this.
Yeah. Just getting back and we're, getting this recorded. Thanks for having me, PG. It's the first off, shout out to the crowd. Y'all were thoroughly involved, thoroughly loud, making heck of noise. And that's exactly what you're looking for the energy in the arena. I mean, if I was at game 7 as well, this felt louder than game 7 at points. Like the team was, the fans were very much enthusiastic and excited on rebounds. They were excited when we were boxing out. They were excited when we were making layups, threes. You could feel the energy radiate throughout it. And as that was starting to happen, you started to see the run, especially in the second half. But honestly, PG, the first half, I was a lot more impressed with the team than I thought I would be. As bad as the team shot and overall played, I mean, you score 44 points in the first half and you're down 8, and that's it. I mean, you're only down 4 at halftime, right? 48-44. You're only down 4 points and you shot pretty poo. But you made Minnesota's life a living hell, which is exactly what you expect out of this team. And Shea was 2 for 13 in the first half? Finished 10 for 27? Yeah. He was able to find his spots. He calmed down. And then he started to, get to the free throw line.
Yeah. Well, and I've already seen a lot of griping about that. So maybe that's what we got to address first, the free throw, because it felt like Oklahoma City at first was it's going to be one of those games where you're like, okay, they're going to miss them because SGA missed 2. I think it was Chet missed 1. They ended up finishing 21 of 26, which was an 80% from the free throw line. But you've already seen a lot of people talk about how SGA, free throw merchant, getting all the calls. But in reality, Oklahoma only got 5 more free throws than Minnesota. It just felt like SGA got a chunk of those because he had the ball in his hands the majority of the time.
Well, he shot 14 free throws, right? So he missed 3 of the 5 that was missed. So he got the massive chunk of it. But it was the shots in succession that he was getting. It was he's driving, they bump bodies, he puts the ball in the air and makes the shot, and then they call the foul.
Yeah,
kind of how it typically goes.
Yeah, and to be fair though, for the fans that want to say SGA's a free throw merchant,
meh,
he's not going to get those calls on the road half the time. Like,
actually,
calls are on the road, and then the other 50% don't get called.
PG, they said he won with these fouls called in the playoffs.
True.
I'm confused here, and I'd say I'm confused specifically because this is what fans say. Oh, well, when the playoffs start, they don't blow the whistle that much. It's going to be more physical, cool. But then everyone complains that Oklahoma City is too physical. Like, which one is it that y'all want? Do you want some old school 80s, 90s basketball where they used to muscle up like OKC does? OKC gets called for more fouls because they're way more physical. And so because they're more physical, they're more handsy. They're more handsy. They end up getting called because you can't hand check. So they get called for more fouls. But in this game, it was perfect. OKC was going to the rim. They were going to the butter, and they were getting fouls in those areas. I mean, some of the fouls that Minnesota got, I was looking like that was not a foul, but it happened. They gave it to them, but also the rest let them play. You can tell that this definitely was not influence. The reason why Minnesota, this is funny, PG, listen to this stat. Minnesota shot 21 free throws in this game. They also shot 51 flipping three-pointers. PG.
I felt like I was watching Boston out there.
Thank you. This is exactly what, and this is what Boston fans whine and complain about. We don't get free throws. You don't get free throws because you're shooting threes nonstop. And now, if there's anything that shocked me in this game was that Naz Reid was 1 for 11 from the field.
Yeah.
Like, that is not something I would expect to continue to happen. Because he was the one that was busting our tail most of the season. He played awful. It was just a bad game for him. 1 from 11 from the field, 0 for 7 for 3. He just was not hitting the shots he normally would. It's also the playoffs. So we'll see if the lemon booty is what actually going to continue, or if he's going to tighten up and he's going to play his game. But yeah, he's bad. And then Ant got that ankle, man. I don't think he's going to finish this series out very well.
Yeah, no, that was a big question to me. I didn't want Ant to be hurt because it's like that everybody's going to put an asterisk next to Oklahoma City winning the series at that point because it's like, well, Anthony Edwards wasn't healthy. So, but that's my thing. It's like Anthony Edwards, this ankle thing has been something that's been ongoing for him. So I don't think it's going to be something that's going to affect him long term. I think, they'll make sure it's taped up, extra special next game, and he'll come out and play probably just as good. I feel like next game we're going to get Anthony Edwards' best shot because he knows they don't need to go down 2-0.
I mean, I get you saying that, but I do think that this is long term for this series. This has happened every single round. He had the problem against the Lakers. This is when it started. Oh, I'm sorry, the Warriors. He was it the Warriors or the Lakers? It was the Lakers first. Yeah. He was hurt against the Lakers. That's when he first hurt his ankle. Then he hurt it again against the Warriors. He kind of tweaked it. He tweaked it again in this series. So now the question is, can he continue to play on it against this Oklahoma City team? I don't know because, knock on wood, OKC is not dealing with the same things that the Lakers and the Warriors were, which they lost their star player. If OKC maintains what they're doing currently, I don't know if Anthony Edwards can bounce back against them.
So this is where I think the Minnesota Timberwolves can kind of take advantage of the Thunder a little bit with Anthony Edwards because as we saw in this game, Oklahoma City is going to let Minnesota shoot those corner threes. They're going to let, when Anthony Edwards is driving into a packed lane, kick the ball out, and they're going to try to close out on whoever's taking that three-pointer shot. If Minnesota really wants to take advantage of that, if Edwards still isn't 100% healthy, you could put him out there as decoy. Because Oklahoma City is still going to dedicate that extra resource in the paint on Anthony Edwards to keep him from getting the easy bucket. And they will take their chances on the kick out with potentially getting a steal because we know that Oklahoma City, they like to do that, right? They like to close out on the defender in the corner, or they like to try to break up that passing lane for a steal, which we saw multiple times tonight. So if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think you can make that adjustment in game 2, especially if Anthony Edwards ain't healthy, and try to play that game a little bit more. But again, you're doing what you kind of did tonight, and you're living and dying by the three-point ball.
Yeah, and that's not going to be a good thing for them. So, like, for Minnesota, a lot of their corner three misses was Naz Reid. But for the most part, they weren't shooting that many from the corners. I don't think they had as many corner three misses as they had threes from just around the 3-point line in general. They were just missing it overall. They did miss a lot of corner ones, I'm not gonna lie, but again, they shot 51. They only made 15. So it's gonna look like a lot because he just was missing like crazy. But I don't think Oklahoma City's going to want. They had 21 of their 51 threes came from the corners. So 3 for 10 in one corner, 2 for 11 in the other. So 5 of 21. That was bad. I don't think OKC's going to want to let them shoot that many corner threes because you did also see DiVincenzo hit some. You know what I'm saying? You saw Alexander Walker hit one here and there. You start to see them hitting some. So to me, the Anthony Edwards as a decoy is not going to work if the Thunder rotate well. Now, we all know that Oklahoma City's had a problem with rotating. We saw that against Dallas last year. I still feel like they've gotten better at it over time. They've just got to get better at the communication component to where people are knowing to rotate around and not allow those corner threes. Minnesota's not going to shoot that bad all series. Well, I hope they shoot that bad all series, but I don't expect them to. But I do expect Oklahoma City defensively, their proneness is going to be a problem, especially if Anthony Edwards is dealing with that ankle.
They won't shoot that bad all series, but I will give you this. Julius Randle isn't going to shoot that good all series either. He's not going to go make 5 of 6 from 3. He's not going to go do that all series. So in some way, it might balance itself out.
I don't know. I'm looking at his game log, man. He been cooking since game 1 of the playoffs. 16 against the Lakers. He had 27, 22, 25, 23, 18, 24, 24, 31, 29. Now, I think Julius Randle's going to be doing this the entire time. He is the player that the Thunder, if there's one person you should let Bust Joe tell it might be Julius Randle. Give him his 28 on a regular basis. Just make sure Naz Reid doesn't go off. If Naz Reid's go off, I think OKC is going to have a problem.
Yeah, my only thing with that is I think in the second half you started to see Julius Randle. Starting wasn't coming as easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lou Dort in the second half had him in hell. Absolutely,
He really
hell.
did.
And so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think there's this component of as the series starts to go on, I think Oklahoma City is going to make adjustments in going in the next game and probably not let Julius Randle go 9 of 13 from the field and 5 of 6 from 3. And I feel like Lou Dort is next game going to lock him up and potentially keep him under 20 points that game. And so
Yeah.
I think it kind of balances itself out a little bit. Those threes might get distributed to somebody else because, I mean, he hit what was it, like a 35-footer or 40-footer? I mean, Julius Randle's not going to be that hot every night. I hate to tell you that. He's not going to be that hot every night.
I can't agree with you there, man. He's been doing it all playoffs. Now, he had like a couple of games where he was kind of mid, but he was 4 for 8 in the game. He dropped 31 on Golden State. I mean, against the Lakers, he had 4 for 4 of 6, 3 of 8. He was hitting some threes. Now 5 of 6 may not come again, but I can expect him to hit 4 threes in another 3 to 4 threes in the game again. It's more of a, you want to force him to, you don't want to give him open threes. Kind of like DiVincenzo. When you give him too many open threes, he's going to start, he's going to start clocking them. You want to make sure that they're shooting it, they're not just catching and shooting. You want to make them have to do a few dribbles and then try to get it up in the air. Now, if Oklahoma City really wants to turn up the intensity, which is the one thing I do appreciate about the way they played in the second half, outscoring them 70 to 40, was they were pushing for a lot of shot clock violations. Like it was 3 seconds, 2 seconds on the clock when Minnesota was trying to put it up in the air. So if you can keep that type of intensity going through, you have a good chance of winning this bad boy in 5. Because we talked about this, you were thinking that Ant can get you 2. With that ankle, man, I could say Ant gets them 1. I don't think he can get them 2 right now.
The ankle thing definitely, I think, changes things a little bit. If Minnesota goes down 2-0, I definitely agree with you. 5 games starts to become very realistic because if Oklahoma City wins 2 in a row, the likelihood that they will lose 2 in a row in Minnesota probably is unlikely.
Very low.
And so, but no, I look at this game tonight, and overall, I think Oklahoma City played a really good game. They started to buckle down in the second quarter, going into the second half, and you started to see them constrict the paint a little bit more. Force Minnesota to take those jump shots, take those threes, and then additionally, Oklahoma City had 13 steals tonight, which I thought one of the big things for Oklahoma City in the series was they needed to create turnovers because Minnesota is a high turnover team. And they went out there, and I think they showed you going into next season, they might have 4 guys that could play on the all NBA defensive team. I mean,
yeah,
J-Dub's going to have his conversation, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, obviously, Chet Holmgren. SGA is a very underrated defender. I don't think a lot of people give him enough credit, but SGA breaks up passing lanes a lot. He gets a lot of block shots. And then Chet Holmgren tonight, just absolutely phenomenal in that fourth quarter. This had to have been the best game he's played in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He bounced back very well in the second half of figuring it out. And that's one thing you want out of this team. And we talked about this before. One of the pieces I'd say that Oklahoma City needed was to win those close games against Denver and have the feeling of, okay, we're down, but we're going to close it out, get the W. Chet showed that too. First half, Chet was cheeks. Cheeks, I tell you, he was cheeks. And he even said it in the post game. He was like, yeah, I was played awful in the first half. And then, I trusted the process, continued to go. And then boom, what happened? Came back out there, giving us some stuff. So he got more aggressive. He decided to go at the rim, try to go for some dunks and everything. And to me, that's what saved, his confidence in this game was that he decided, I'm going to continue to be aggressive. And then he started to see that those buckets fall in. I think once that third quarter hit and you start to see a couple of threes go in, you're like, all right, you're starting to get comfortable. And then boom, they went on that run in the fourth. And actually in the third, it was over. It was over. That's all you needed.
It definitely was. So kind of giving an outlook here, because we didn't get you on to talk about this series before it started. You obviously, I think, are pretty high on this series ending in 5. I called it in 6. I just think it's more likely Minnesota can get Oklahoma City to slip up at least for 2 games. I do think there's still some until Oklahoma City shows me they can do it against a good team. I just think that there's going to be some slip ups there because they're young and they're going to make mistakes and it's going to cost them the playoffs at some point. But you talked about Oklahoma City in 5. Are you still sticking by that at this point?
Oh yeah, 100%. This game told me it's going to be in 5. All they've got to do if they have to buckle down for it to end in 5, but I'm calling 5. And if Oklahoma City shows up the way that they did in this, and they get it, and they shut this bad boy, 5. The defense is what's going to get them in 5, because I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to outshoot Oklahoma City in this series.
Oh, they're definitely not. When are we getting?
And that's what's most important.
When are we getting our MVP?
Man, I don't even want to talk about that. They better give it to him on Thursday.
At this point.
They may as well give it to him on Thursday. What are we doing? Just go ahead and pass the MVP over on Thursday. What are we doing?
Yeah, we definitely need to do that because I'm tired of waiting around for it. I'm tired of watching these home games and not seeing SGA pregame lift the MVP trophy up.
Yeah, this is like the dumbest thing in the world. Let me see. They did the finalist and they haven't given us an actual date. Let me see if they give us a. Nope.
Is this the longest we've ever had to wait for an MVP?
It is. I think it
this
is
the longest we've ever had to wait.
Yeah, it's usually provided by now, and I don't know why they're being disrespectful to us like this.
They're being disrespectful because they were just hoping SGA would lose to Jokic and could then say, well, yep, that's why Jokic got it, because he's just a better player.
Yeah, we're going to give it to him. Yeah, there's just cheeks. I say you cheeks.
So, all right, Jay. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you back on after game 2.
Oh, yeah. We'll get back together Thursday night, baby. Post after the second W and the Thunder move on and head to Minnesota up 2-0.
All right. See y'all later.